Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam Media.
Lama tak jumpa So today I have just finished finalizing the final exam questions. Orang dah overdue. Okay, let's discuss about your final exam first on the topic. And then we look into other matters that you want to raise in relation to any of the topics that we have covered, right? Okay, your final exam will be on the 8th of August. Yeah, 8th of August, and then it will be 3.5 hours, right? Normally our exam is 3 hours, but because it's online, we decided that we are going to give you extra 30 minutes, right? Because of the difficulty, or not the difficulty, maybe adjusting the online whatever lah, all right? So 3.5 minutes, 3 hours and 30 minutes. Then only I give you additional 30 minutes for your submission. Right, for submission, make sure that you know how to convert your files, all right, your handwritten answers into PDF, all right. And Amirul, where's Amirul? Amirul tak ada. Right, Amirul, make sure that your PDF conversion of your cam scanner, whatever it is, make sure that it can be more than 4 pages. Otherwise, you will have problem when you want to submit your exam later, yeah. So it's gonna be handwritten, and make sure that everyone use pen only for your final exam, right? No pencil. And please make sure that, all right, because it's going to be marked online, right? Make sure that you have your name, your metric number. No. Final exam, there's no name, yeah. So you don't have to put your name in the paper. So only your metric number, and make sure that the metric number, hopefully you write your metric number correctly, yeah. I did not write that you have to write your metric number in number and in sentences ke apa benda. No, I wouldn't know. Oh, yang tak, it's okay lah. Yeah. But on the paper, you don't write your name, alright? Even though I know that because through Google Classroom. So, my daughter. Okay. 1. Lagi apa? It's gonna be open book. Yeah, it's gonna be an open book examination as of today. Why? Because of the online kind. If I were to say that it's a closed book, so maybe some other students, right, they just ignore that instruction, so they just open book. So it's not fair to the students who are very honest, right, integrity, all that. Tapi to be fair to all, it's gonna be an open book exam. Yeah. So when I say that it's an open book exam, actually it's more difficult because the question will not be straightforward. All right. Yeah, my sup kambing dah masak. Okay. The question will be more on applicable, application of the knowledge on the theory, right? They will not be okay, state or list down ke tak ada. So right, so because if you do open book, you can just get that information. So actually, an open book is more difficult if you are not prepared. But if you are prepared for the exam, open book will be a very helpful. Yeah, so the option is with you. You want to prepare for the exam or otherwise, yeah? Okay, any question? So far, no, huh? Okay, question number 1 is on tax incentive. All right, so this is actually based on our group presentation. Right, on your not only your group presentation but all the students presentation, all right, because everything is put together, all right. So you must not only know your topic, all right, but also other students, other groups punya topic. Okay, so okay, if you can see that, all right, for your group presentation, right, for this topic, tax incentive and other issues, I have allocated 30%, all right, from your group project. 50% from your project, from your presentation, and another 15% from your report. So that is 30%. Yeah. In your final exam, the amount is also big, all right. So it means that for this paper, okay, for this paper, almost 50% of the topic is actually from your group presentation. Yeah. And then, so means that all these topic 50% ni you dah buat group presentation kan? So actually it's based on your group work lah. Yeah. So it's more on the teamwork, it's more on the assessment is actually based on that. Not yet sayang, awal lagi. Sabar. Sabar. Tunggu dia senyap sekejap boleh? Tunggulah bagi 10 minit. Anak dara masak pakai notes lah. Lagi. Okay, tak nampak. Okay. Where were we?
Almost 50%, madam. The test exam.
So I think that is fair because 50% based on your group project. I mean that your teamwork, everything is there. Yeah. So in your final exam, we have another topic, which is number 2 is that we have question number 2 on audit and investigation. All right. We have double tax agreement, and we also have investment holding company. All right. Do you get the topics? The 4 topics: tax incentive, or tax incentive and specialized industry, audit and investigation, double tax agreement, and investment holding company. So the other 3 topics that it will be on your individual part lah. Yeah, so that carries another about 50%. So it's fair lah. So the group 50% and your individual part is another 50%. Yeah. Okay. Even the individual part pun dah open book sekarang. So hopefully you will do well lah in this paper, insyaAllah. Yeah. And make sure that you prepare for the exam. Okay. For question audit and investigation, yeah. So I have you have to refer to I've shared with you the audit framework, right? Tax audit framework and tax investigation framework. So because the question is theoretical, all right, and I think that whether you like it or not, you have to read the frameworks, yeah. But the question again may not be direct, yeah. It may not be direct because it's an open book. Right, so you not only you have to read, you have to understand, but you have to apply the knowledge from that frameworks. Yeah. Okay. And then so audit investigation pun bila I tengok balik, I nak cakap apa benda tu, memang I will go through the framework. So I will skip on that. Yeah, I think that audit investigation, okay. In general, all right, tax audit actually to the objective of tax audit, all right, in Malaysia because of the self-assessment system, right? So when we say that self-assessment, taxpayer self-assess. You can also, taxpayer means that you decide how much is your income, how much the expenses that you want to claim, all right? So because whatever that you submitted is accepted by Inland Revenue Board as a prima facie. It means that whatever you submit, we accept as it is. All right, whatever tax liability you pay, or if you have a refund, we are going to refund you accordingly. All right. But in order to ensure that the system works well, because otherwise people will always try, because they say that, oh, self-assess, I don't want to pay tax, so I will always omit my income. I can claim extra, all right, unnecessarily, or maybe you just have a ghost expenses. So all these things will reduce your tax liability. So in order to ensure that, all right, this system, the self-assessment system, is not being violated, is not being manipulated by the taxpayers. So that's why the government come up with the Inland Revenue come up with the audit and investigation. Yeah, so it's two types of monitoring lah. Yeah, it's a control put in place in order to ensure that the self-assessment system sustain. Yeah, so Malaysia is not the only country in the world that have self-assessment system. All right, but we adopted that for companies in, I think, 2000. Yeah, so it has been almost 20 years self-assessment system in Malaysia. So I think that people are more accommodative to the system now. Yeah. So what we do is that when Tax Saudi say that, okay, remember just now I said that, okay, whatever you submit, we accept as it is. We here refer to Inland Revenue Board. So we accept what it is, and then we pay you accordingly what regard to the tax refund without checking. Yeah. We don't check individual tax returns submitted by the taxpayer. So what we do is that, we are going to select randomly. All right, just like that. So audit, it means that we're not going to check every taxpayer's returns, but we're going to select randomly. All right. So when you select, all right, this one is become a sample to see whether taxpayer have actually do their tax com correctly or not, right? So when I say it's a random selection, it's not that random, right? So in my PhD, actually initially I did on tax audit, right? So we actually went to the Inland Revenue Board, went to the audit department on the policy and check with them, not a check with them. I mean, actually we actually collect some information. In that case, myself lah, yeah, how actually audit is being conducted, right? But at that time, of course, Inland Revenue Board in terms of the data secrecy, all right, regard to the private and confidentiality, they do not actually expose so many things, right? So what happened is that we are informed of the method of selection, all right? It's not, when you say random, it's not that random, all right? They do have some kind of mechanism. They do have some kind of a system and application that actually how to select the taxpayer. And okay, for example, they say that, okay, if the, let's say for example, in the retailing business, right? Assuming that retailing business, normally profit margin is 20%, right? And alright, okay, they set dekat sistem dia profit margin is 20%. Gross profit ke, profit ke, whatever lah, alright, 20%. So if any of the company having less than 20%, alright, they can trigger, alright. And the trigger, for example, in this case, retailing below 20%, they can trigger. And from that, all these are things that they trigger. Kenapa dia ambil below 20%? Maybe below 20% ni under reporting. Yeah, under reporting, maybe in the case of under report income or overclaim of expenses, that's why profit is small, alright. And because normally company, alright, in Malaysia, not Malaysia lah, it's global punya scenario whereby you okay. Alright, in globally we say that you have two types of accounting reports. Alright, one accounting report that you submit to, for example, SSM. Alright, the one which is being audited, all these things, yeah. So that is your maybe I do not know. It should be your actual reports of your accounting punya accounting reporting lah, yeah. The other one, alright, some company do actually prepare a different set of accounting report for the purpose of income tax. Alright, the one that will give a lower tax liability. Yeah, so this one is wrong. Of course, it's wrong, but it's just that it's not being caught. Yeah, but it's normal for them. So what happened is that if for your shareholders, you have a report saying that okay, the company is doing very good, but today like the report saying that oh, the company is not doing very good because very small profit, so that's why they pay only small tax liability. Yeah. So what happened is that, so that's why normally the gross profit margin is that anything below 20%, it will trigger the system. And from that system, then they will have another level of filter, and then they come up with a list of company that to be audited, right? So being audited doesn't mean that you actually do wrong. Yeah, it's just that RB just want to check whether the accounts is prepared in accordance to the law. So audit is again is the compliance issue, right? Whether you comply, bila cakap compliance ni technical lah, alright. Whether you follow section 33, section 34, section 39, double deductions, all that lah. Income, is it reported or not? So all these are issues regard to compliance. So audit is actually to ensure that taxpayers are in compliance with the tax law when they prepare their tax returns. Okay, but when talk about again, all right, not only the objective of audit is that, but also, all right, to educate taxpayer. Yeah, educate taxpayer so that when they go audit, all right, for example, if they are not, for example, adalah some of the expenses that they actually claim, which they should not claim, right, non-allowable expenses, but they claim that as allowable expenses, maybe due to ignorance, maybe due to technical knowledge. Yeah, so then tax auditor will advise clients or advise taxpayer how to actually do the tax computation. Yeah, so that is the education part. So that is actually one of the objectives of doing tax audit, right? But what happened is that if you were found to be non-compliance, right? Of course, bila non-compliance, so again, there is a penalty for that, right? Because under self-assessment system, taxpayer is expected, right, it's your responsibility to actually know how to do the tax computation. It's your responsibility to know whether income is taxable, whether expenses is deductible or not. So that is under self-assessment system. Right? So it's taxpayer, not tax agent responsibility. Yeah. But what happened in Malaysia is that everything is given to tax agent. Yeah, everything tax agent yang akan do all the compliance issues lah. Everything. Yeah. So client dia akan kata, okay, how much I have to pay at the end of the day to the inland revenue board, right? So as a tax agent, you will do that on behalf of the taxpayer. But because under self-assessment system, tax agent, what they normally do, if they do the tax com for the company, they will have to give the tax com to the company, and company must decide whether they want to go or not to go. Means that, okay, I agree with the tax computation. So if anything happen, it goes back to the client, not the tax agent. Yeah, so we are only helping them to prepare the tax com, but the responsibility stays with the taxpayer. Okay, so so if you are found not during the audit, you are found to be non-compliant, then of course there's a penalty for that, right? So in order to avoid penalty, so what we do is that we ensure that we are not being audited, we try not to be selected for audit, right? How to try to do that? Well, we can't do that actually, yeah, because everything is selected by the inland revenue board. Okay, that is on tax audit. When it comes to tax investigation ni, okay, bila audit tadi, alright, it could be from the system, yeah. It could be, for example, RB kata, okay, this round of the year, for example, YA 2000, year 2020 ni, let's focus on macam previous year, ya, 2019, dia fokus pada siapa? Audit on the professionals. Right, dia pergi pada doctors, dia ada medical clinic tu, dia pergi pada syariah consultants, alright, they go to all these professionals, lawyers, alright, to check on their compliance. Okay, so maybe that year dia nak pergi professional. The other year maybe dia kata, okay, let's go to retailers. So it depends on how they want to strategize dia punya audit punya activity, yeah, right? But talking about investigation ni memang is no longer issue about compliance tau. Investigation is always about fraud. Fraud tu maksudnya you memang intentionally you don't want to pay tax. How you don't want to pay tax? You either omit your income, you do not report any income that you have, or you claim excessively, or you go underground lah. Bila go underground tu memang you are not registered, all these things, yeah. Okay, so what happen is that investigation, because dia fraud punya issue. Ya, bila fraud punya issue ni, information could be from sometimes daripada audit tu sendiri. Right, from the audit activities, then the auditor may find out that something is very wrong, right, with the accounting, for example. So they may bring the audit case into investigation case, right? So dia ada two teams lah, audit lain, investigation is different team, yeah. So now investigators, we call it as a tax investigators, they actually bring guns or weapons with them because they are in a very high risk punya environment lah, because they are dealing with tax evaders. Yeah, these are the gangsters, all those that don't want to pay tax. Yeah. Okay, my son, how old are you, Afiq? 18 years old. Just wake up.
No.
Baru nak makan breakfast during lunchtime.
It's called brunch.
It's called brunch, dia kata. Lah, cepat-cepat lah pergi uni. Afiq, I can see you lah. Okay. Alright, investigation sebab fraud. Yeah? So how do they decide on whether a case to be investigated? It could be from the audit. It could be from third party information. Alright, some people maybe you are not. Some people may report if there is some irregularities. Alright, because they know that you may get income from something somewhere that is not reported. Everything lah. So third party, and then sometimes from the database of the government database pun it is possible. Yeah, so that's investigation. And of course, bila investigation ni dia ialah orang fraud, right? So what you do is that of course you tak ada inform them in advance, you just pergi seal terus office dia. You tak boleh masuk office, everything lah. So investigation ni memang is a serious issue lah, yeah, issue. So that's on audit and investigation. Okay? Need further information about audit investigation? Kira cover lah ni kan? Alright, of course, we can have a topic under audit investigation macam dia kata now kalau Inland Revenue Board, alright, for example talking about individuals, yeah, kalau dia nak audit tu, if you katalah you kena bring audit or investigation kan, dia nak tengok how much is your income. Yes.
Spending berapa?
2, 3 boleh. Besarnya buat apa banyak-banyak. Tak payah, buat sikit je nanti tak habis. Tak payah. Nak buat Milo. Berapa sudu? Okay. Afi, tengok Mama dah hilang dah apa nak cakap. Where were we? Dah semua dah.
How much the income?
How much income, madam?
Dia ada method untuk kira tau how much is your income should be. For example, dia akan tengok you punya bank statement. Dia pakai income statement. Alright, you tengok you punya income berapa expenses you, whether whatever that you have is more, cash yang you have to is more than what you should have. So all this lah, dia panggil income method, pakai income statement. Sebab of course you have to start from somewhere. So most of the time dia akan start dengan bank statement lah. Yeah. But I don't teach that lah. I don't cover that to that technical part on the tax audit lah. Because why? Because I pun tak tahu macam mana buat. Nanti I ajar you all jadi ajaran sesat kan. So baik tak payah ajar. But of course bila you nak buat benda ni, kalau katalah you nak tahu macam mana nak buat kan, of course lah siapa yang nak tahu buat. Siapa yang jadi auditor lah. Tax auditor tahulah buat. So kalau you jadi auditor nanti you tahulah. Kalau you tak jadi auditor nak tahu. Macam tu. Tapi tak betul. Macam tu it's wrong. It's wrong. But because I don't have the experience to do that income statement punya analysis. So I do not know how. Yeah. There is in the textbook, but I don't think you have to refer to that. Alright, you can just refer to the framework je lah for final exam purpose. Okay. Okay, double tax agreement. Sikit lagi. Double tax agreement, kat mana ya? Let's see, sharing. Acrobat. Okay, this is from your textbook, yeah, double tax agreement. The concept here is that why we have double tax agreement, for example, all these soalan tak ditanya dah lah, right? Sebab it's an open book, alright? But it's just that I want you to understand this part lah, alright? Where you talk about, when you have double tax agreement, of course, there are the method of tax relief for income, yeah? So it means that sama ada the under double tax agreement, whether is it going to be full exemption or is it going to be credit or full deduction. Alright. So of course in the example here dia bagi 3 countries lah. Alright, 3 countries of that same income. So but the question in reality is that maybe a company, for example in banking or insurance, you takkan nak involved in one country only. Right, you may have income from many countries. Right. So bila you have many income from countries, why is this? Okay, first thing is that in this case, why is that the income from foreign countries is taxable? Why is it not exempted? Hello? Faham tak soalan Nai?
Maybe because ada permanent establishment?
No.
Full scope lah, madam.
Permanent establishment is a business income. Ini katalah contohnya your income daripada mana ni? Ni your income dekat Nirvana. Ada income from Paradise. But it's a foreign income. Why is it not exempted? Kan kita belajar foreign income is exempted. But why in this case is not exempted? Why? Okay. Is foreign income exempted? Kalau you buat soalan biasa kan, income from Hong Kong, is it exempted?
Yes.
Kenapa kat sini tak exempt?
Buat dia salah
Business
kira.
kot.
Sebab?
World based.
Ni, maybe dia kan ada act saying deemed derived from Malaysia. Maybe
the operation itself ada relate to Malaysia.
Sebab business dia bank kot madam.
Sebab dia
Visa
bank. So kalau bank kenapa?
World territory. Visa tu. Yang
Visa.
visa.
Bisa. Apa bisa?
Banking, insurance, shipping, airline.
Yes.
World territory.
Sekarang ni, other than visa, semua foreign income is exempted. Tapi kalau visa means the income of the banking, insurance, shipping and airlines is based on world scope basis. It means that wherever income is derived will be taxed in Malaysia as long as the company is a Malaysian resident company. Faham? So that's why in this case example here is a banking. Alright, in this example company is a bank, Sichuan Bank Berhad. Yeah. So other example could be insurance, could be shipping, could be airlines company lah. Alright, so their tax com is that whatever income derived is taxable. Wherever it is. Yeah, derived. Okay. Income derived is taxable. Wherever it is. So tapi bila ada double tax agreement, then Malaysia and the other country will decide lah macam mana kita nak sebab bila taxable means that Malaysia nak tax juga on the same income, but you having business in China for example, China will also wants to tax you, alright, on the same income. So that's why kita ada double tax agreement, so that we have an agreement that we are not going to double tax you, but we're going to give you some kind of tax relief. So reliefnya macam mana? So depends lah whether nak bagi exemption ke, bagi credit or nak bagi deduction. Faham? Okay. So katalah sekarang ni in this example you have 3 countries, right? But assuming that one business, katalah I kata this bank, I takkan nak operate kat China je. Maybe I have income from Hong Kong, I have income from Japan, I have income from Myanmar, alright, on the same income, business income. Right? Or maybe interest income or dividend income. So because it's wherever income is derived, so you're going to combine all your income from everywhere, dapatkan satu aggregate income. Betul tak? Nah, so bila dapat total income, alright, then that income tu akan jadi base. So that's your income lah. Then only kira you punya tax liability. So depends on whether you pakai exemption, so atau pakai credit atau pakai deduction. So the method tu macam tu lah. Bezanya cuma kat sini is alright, income kat sini ni Malaysian income tu mesti ada semua lah, right? And then the method tu depends with, on the relief given under double tax agreement. Okay. Okay, bila you cakap pasal for example here, alright, kita ada katalah dengan kat sini, okay, then only remember kalau normally memang biasanya is a tax credit lah, alright, jarang lah company government tu kata okay lah tax exemption. Of course Malaysia tak nak bagi exemption sebab kita nak collect tax on the foreign income kan. So you say that okay we give you tax credit. So katalah you ada agreement, kalau credit mana you have to use the bilateral lah. So you have to go back lah what is the formula for bilateral. Right, bilateral maknanya you ada agreement between the Malaysia and the other countries. Kalau tak ada DTA, then you have to use unilateral. Yeah. So why is then you have to look for the formula lah. I think that formula dia kat bawah sini. Actually dah cover kat atas, cuma kat sini. Okay ni on page 543 you ada bilateral credit, alright, and then you also have the unilateral, right? So if the country have a agreement, okay boleh masukkan. Kita masukkan. Sekejap masukkan garam 3 lah. 2 lah. 3 lah. Okay. Right. So unilateral. So you have to follow this lah. So maknanya daripada katalah you have chargeable income times by 24% tax rate kan. Then only you give bilateral and then you bagi unilateral dan dapatlah balance of tax liability sebab credit is given against your tax liability. Alright. Kalau tengok kat formula kat atas ni, the tax credit, alright, either bilateral or unilateral is given after your income tax payable. Nampak? Sini 43 ni is already your tax liability. So given a credit, this is your net tax liability in Malaysia lah. Right? So selalunya kita nak kira what is your Malaysian tax payable lah. Ya. Okay. Faham tak ni? Okay. So, and then of course under this topic, you punya permanent establishment, alright, all these things is there lah. Withholding tax. Alright, withholding tax for DTA, for tax 2, I tak tanya banyak lah. I tak tanya pun withholding tax sebab dia dalam tax 2, not under advanced tax. Yeah. So, advanced tax kita only cover double tax agreement. Question on DTA?
Madam, when you say more than one countries, it means for example the
Sally?
for example in the textbook it gives like 3 examples, right, madam? I mean 3 countries.
Three
So you mean-
countries.
So is it like every different countries have different kind of tax?
Yeah,
Tax
betul. It depends on developer tax agreement lah. Katalah dengan Nirvana, okay, Malaysia agree dengan Nirvana, kita pakai full exemption. Malaysia dengan Paradise, kita akan bagi full credit. Malaysia dengan Haven bagi full deduction. So depends lah. So bila you dapat income tu, how to tax in Malaysia depends on agreement tu balik lah. Nak pakai credit ke, nak pakai deduction ke, nak pakai full exemption.
Okay, thank you.
Kan? Alright. Lagi? Dia buat air pula. Cabaran-cabarannya bila bekerja work from home, study from home. Okay, so that is on double tax agreement. So the next one, oh ya, Fik Sofian.
Sabar sikit.
Okay, for this investment holding company, alright, I ajar kita, I ajar kan? Macam tak belajar ya.
Dah belajar dah.
Belajar,
Masalah
madam.
dah.
Jangan investment holding
Dah.
company. Okay, you can actually refer to this public ruling only, alright, because dalam textbook tu ada few errors. So bila ada errors tu takut student lagi get confused. But if you want to look to, no problem. Before this point I ajar pakai textbook je. Cuma ada error kat situ akan betulkan lah. Right, but public ruling kat Singapore okay je, right? Okay. So bila investment holding company maknanya the whether you want to know whether company is an investment holding company, you kena test dulu sebab that's why SK company ISC yes or no, right? If it's not ISC then you follow normal tax form for companies lah. But if company is ISC yes, then you have to see okay I have to follow section 60F or section 60FA, alright? Bila company is investment holding company, then you have to see whether company is a listed company or a Sendian Berhad company. Yeah, because Sendian Berhad ISC lain in computation as compared to listed company. So you have to know both lah. Yeah, so the computation of that. So first thing you have to decide whether company is ISC or not. So question will always ask you that. So bila ask that, not only you have to decide whether the 80%, the first condition must be the principal activity of the company is in the holding of investment. Yeah, definition tu nampak means a business of letting of real. Maintenance, all this. Determination. Firstly, mesti main activity dia is holding of investment. Then only you test 80% punya rules. Yeah, 80% rules means that income. Okay, so how to decide on the 80%? Then you have to look at baca example, okay lah. So but what I have concluded that, I ingat hari tu investment holding company we did not record. I forget to record, remember? I rasa lah. Okay, so bila you tengok 80% tu, alright, you have to see that you only want to check your income under section 4C and 4D. Alright, for your dividend, rental yang 4D bukan 4A ya. Because how you differentiate between 4A and 4D rental income?
Comprehensive maintenance service.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that lah. Ada mention lah, you ada provide comprehensive maintenance and services tu lah. Ya, betul lah benda tu. Ya, so kalau dia provide comprehensive maintenance all that, dia rental income from business, rental income you is under section 4A, it's a business income. So for the purpose of 80%, you nak tahu ISC ke tak, you nak ambil 4C dengan 4D income je. So that's why kat sini I tandakan rental from non-business, dividend and interest income. Alright, whether it's exempted or not is different. It doesn't matter. Alright, you want to know how much income from this section 4C and 4D, and then over total gross income. Right, total income that you have. So total income that you have here is the, in this case, termasuklah 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D lah. Yeah, and then management service is under section 4F. So remember that this management service fee is section 4. Susahnya nak tulis. 4F. Macam tu. Okay. I dah beli benda ni. Untuk marking very good lah. Tapi untuk tulis-tulis tu mungkin sebab tak cukup artistik. So the tulisan dia tak cantik. Okay. Okay. Terpadam. Tak mahulah pula.
Maaf, pergi ambil baju sekejap.
Ambil baju apa?
Abang suruh ambil baju dekat lobby.
Oh, abang hantar Dobi tadi. Kesian kat abang. Kau tidur je. Apa betul lah. Salah aku cakap.
Tu buka mic kan?
Buka ah.
Jangan bagi tahu.
Biar. Korang tolong tak parents you all yang duduk kat rumah tu. Tolonglah your parents. Basuh baju ke. Kemas rumah. Janganlah tidur je. Kau dengar tak? Tak mahu.
Dengar, madam.
Dengar.
Masak, madam.
Masak bagus.
Tadi masak, madam.
Yang laki-laki tu jangan buta je tidurnya sampai macam Afiq tu lah. For ini F ya. Macam tu nak tulis F tu je sebenarnya. Okay. Alright, so you should know how to compute on this lah 80%. So this formula is only untuk 80%. Ya, nak tentukan whether company is ISC or not. So one company is ISC, then you have to decide, okay, company ni listed company or non-listed company. Kalau listed company, then you're going to use one formula. Kalau unlisted company, you're going to use another formula. So this example, alright, dia akan go for kalau company tu is a kejap I rasa example kat sini example 10 ni bagus, yeah. Because in order for you to, whenever it's a not listed company, right, Sendirian Berhad, so you have to compute, number one is the permitted expenses, okay. One is you're going to compute permitted expenses. Macam mana nak kira permitted expenses ni, then you have to follow lah. And you must know that these are the only list, these are the only permitted expenses under the law. Ya, yang lain tak. Travelling expenses ke depreciation tak ada. So given a SOCI, for example statement of comprehensive income, so you have to identify what are the expenses that fall under permitted expenses. Alright, and then you compute that permitted expenses, you dapat satu figure. That figure is known as A. So A is your permitted expenses. Then you have to compute B. B is actually, alright, tengok kat sini I buat dah. B is actually your dividend inter rental which is chargeable to tax. So chargeable to tax means that if it's exempted, you don't take that into account. Right? So for example, in this question, example ni, alright, you have dividend which is tax exempt. So if you go through this income, you nampak dividend is tax exempt. Okay, so what I do is that dia kata dia nak A, dia dapat permitted expenses. B is income which is chargeable to tax, and C is the gross income consisting of dividend and interest, whether exempt or not. Yeah, and rental yang tadi section 4A itulah. Yeah, and gains from realization of investment for a basis year. Alright, so termasuk gains from realization. So sometimes you nampak gains from realization is a capital income which is not taxable. Tapi for the purpose of A times by B over 4C, then you kena ambil benda ni. Ya? Kena ambil benda ni. Alright, ingat kan ni ada A times by B over 4C. So I terlupa tadi, I rasa punya skema ni tak ada 4C. So nanti nak kena betul kembali. Okay. 4C kat situ. Alright. Then C means that termasuk gains from realization of investment, and on top of that, amount given deduction is not more than 5% of the B. Alright, you kena tahu what is your B, and then note dividend includes income distributed by unit trust. So dividend kat sini termasuk yang distribution by unit trust. So kalau you tengok kat sini example income, alright, dia ada dividend tax exempt. So this one because exempted so dia fall into C category. Interest is taxable, right? So dia B. Tapi kalau interest which is tax exempt dia jadi C. Tak boleh lah. Buat bakar tu bapa. Tolak sis. Aduh. Okay. Alright. So you understand what is B, what is C? B is income which is chargeable to tax. Maknanya any exempt income is excluded. C is all the income including gains from realization of your investment. Alright, so that's why you have, once you know which one is B, which one is C, you letak. Tapi management service fee is F. Yeah, it's section 4F. So you nak tahu B and C je, so F tu tak termasuk lah. Yeah. So once you have that, you see that okay, now you dapat you punya permitted expenses. Permitted expenses dapat A is 49,000. B actually you nampak 30, 50, 20, 50. Alright, you dapat interest, rental, distribution from REITs. Alright, unit trust, REITs semua ni masuk under B. Dia ni macam dividend lah. Okay, this one is treated macam dividend. Memang macam je aku nak type. Nah dia jalan sendiri nah, berantu lah. Peman Z. Tak lah, hari ni tak bagus lah. Dia macam lambat sikit, tengok tu. Sebab mama tengah screen record tu. Dia affected So, tak nak tulis lah. Okay, pakai ni dividend Hantar kau lah. Command Z tak nak tulis lah. Tak cantik. Okay. What else? Okay, then you see is the other one lah. So, semua income kat atas ni campur the exempt income, campur you punya gain from realization of investment. So that is your C. So below once you have A, B and C, then you pakai lah formula A times B over 4C. So you should get your amount of permitted expenses. So amount of permitted expenses ni dapat 5460. Alright. Once you have 5460, then you are going to compare that with 5% of B. Alright. So this one is actually your 5% of your B. You dah dapat B tadi berapa? 115,000. Kan mana dapat B? B is here. Right, so this is B. So you are going to use the same figure under your 5% of your B. Yeah, so 5% of B is 5750. So you have to compare 5750 dengan 5460. Tak banyak beza. But you take the lower. So you have to take that 5460 as your fraction of your permitted expenses. Okay. So once you dah compute macam tu, nampak? You tolak lah you punya income tu. Of course, again here, income macam computation biasa lah. If it's, for example, dividend, you have to put your final or exempt dividend lah. Yeah. And the management fees kan masuk kat sini juga sebab dia apa? Dia 4F. Yeah, income from section 4C. Or maybe you can have income from section 4A, rental for example. 4A, 4C, 4D, 4F. Dan total aggregate income minus permitted expenses. So permitted expenses ni go back to you punya yang tadi kita dapat kat atas lah. Yeah. Alright. Single tier is exempted lah. Alright. So bila you go through the example, you'll be able to understand better, right? What else? Okay, so ini another example lah. Okay, here, alright, in example 11, they want to show you that, alright, you akan ada, what is this? A shares, fixed deposit, investment in Bintang. So from shares you have dividend income, from fixed deposit you have interest, alright, and then investment in REITs, you ada division of income from REITs, right? And then management services, and then you have gain from realization of investment. Okay, so expenses claim are as follows. So you know that from here you have to decide which one is your permitted expenses. So kalau I were you, I would just write, okay, director's fee. Tak tahulah boleh ke tak. Dia macam dia tak. Director's fee, salaries. Management fees, I don't think so. I don't know. Tak masuk kan? Dia masuk dalam management fees. Okay. Audit fees, yes. Motor tak boleh. Depreciation pun tak boleh. So, you ada 1, 2, 3 items. Audit fee, management fee, salary. 4. Dah lembut belum? Dah rasa? Lupa dah. So, tak asam keping, tak sampah asam keping, 2 keping. Okay. Alright. So then you compute your permitted expenses 47,000 B. Okay, let's say B tadi, mana you dapat B? B is actually your dividend, tak kira kan sebab dia exempt. So you ambil interest rates dengan interest rates. Okay, so 15 campur 90 dapat tak 115. Dapat 105. Ya, dua item je B. Your C is actually your dividend campur interest plus rate plus gain from realization. So cuma management service ni tak masuk lah sebab ini F. Ya, so dia tak masuk. Tak best lah. Kalau mengajar macam mana nak buat ni? Okay. So you punya C nampak management service, management tak masuk.
Benar, dia tahu apa.
Tambah sikit lagi. Tadi garam tak apa? Sebab dia sup kot. Tak garam separuh. Itulah. Dia tak sedap ni. Sedap tak? Daging dah lembut belum? Okay. Alright, so gain from realization. So management fee tadi tak masuk dalam C. Ya. Then you have A, B over C lah. Okay, cumanya kat sini bezanya sebab you ada interest. You ada what we call interest expense kat sini. Bezanya sebab you ada alright, interest expense kat sini. So you have to differentiate between direct expenses. Direct expenses is expenses incurred which is wholly related for the income. Alright, for example in this case interest expense, you ada interest expense of 15,000 but it was mentioned that interest mana cost of investment ni income. Okay, nampak kat sini ni, statement kat sini ni. So you ada total interest expense of 50,000 interest expense. But you ambil loan, alright, so that's why you ada interest expense. So the loan tu is to finance your shares, your fixed deposit and your investment in rate. So maknanya sekarang ni, these three item investment ni, right, your kat sini ni, your share semua ni is your investment. How you invest? Because you pakai duit loan yang you borrow from the bank, and from that loan you have to pay 50,000 interest expense. So the interest expense here is what we call direct expense that you're going to apportion accordingly to the each income. Cumanya macam di shares, alright, how you're going to divide is that shares ada 300,000 over 1.2 darabkan dengan 50,000. Right, so maknanya 25,000 interest expense incurred for generation of your dividend income. But the problem is ada single tier, dividend is already final. So the 25,000 interest expense on generating dividend income is no longer deductible. Right, it's disregarded. Tapi kalau macam interest, alright, interest for example here, interest income is 15,000, but how much is the interest expense attributable to the interest income? So what you do is that you take that 100, right, kat sini, kat mana kat sini? So 100 over 1,000, 1.2 million, right? Times by 50,000. So in that case, how much do you get? 100 over 1,002 times by 50. So you dapat 4,167, right? So that 4,167 you akan deduct against your interest income of 15,000. So that is what we call direct expenses. So for example here nampak income or interest 15,000 tapi you ada interest expense. So that one is what we call direct expense deductible, right? But assuming that your interest expense here is for example 20,000, right? Interest expense related to interest income is 20,000, so you can only minus 15 lah. So the balance 5,000 is disregarded. Yeah, okay. So that is your okay, management service tak adalah direct expenses here, right? Because there's no expenses incurred. Then you minus, kat sini baru you tolak you punya permitted expenses. Mana dapat 3475, you dah kira kat atas lah tadi. 3475, alright, this one. And then you compare that with ni, you still dapat this one is the, this one. This one is the lower. Okay. Okay, so that is on the sendirian bahan. Kalau you buat apa lagi satu, in listed company, alright. Listed company here you have under section 60F. A. Right? Kalau investment normal sediaan berhad yang ada 60F. A for the amendment. Right? Kalau maknanya kalau listed company ni only come quite recently lah. Alright, so the amendment to the law is say that okay, kalau you listed company, you have to follow this rule. So what's the difference on the listed company is that all the income received by the company, either it's a business income, either it's a dividend income, rental income, right? Management income, management fee, put everything is considered as section 4. Management fee masih section 4F. Other investment income, right? Investment income, section dividend interest, semua jadi section 4A. Bila 4A maknanya you akan ada income, right? Means that gross income, tolak direct expenses, tolak common expenses. So direct expense, common expense tak sama ya. It's not the same. Okay. So common expenses and then minus capital allowance. So the then means that the common expenses capital allowance akan be apportioned to each income lah. Alright, so accordingly lah. So normally, okay. Sedap. Siapa nak makan sop kambing boleh datang rumah. So what you do is that for your listed company, so you akan ada gross income minus direct expenses, minus common expenses, minus capital allowance. Then only dapat statutory income from each source. So dia akan kira satu source lah, dividend satu source, rental satu source, interest satu source. So every source tu you kena kira statutory income dia, right? And then how to direct expense here, you see kata interest expense is a direct expense and not a common expense. So common expenses ni selalunya dia akan bagi, yeah. Based on the information provided, you akan pakailah that common expenses. You're going to, in this case, dia akan pakai basis, some kind of basis lah. So kat sini dia kata based on the income generated. Yeah. So kalau common expense 150,000, you're going to divide to dividend. In this case, dividend tak ada common expenses lah. Why? Because dividend dah final. Even though you do actually have income expenses attributable to the dividend, tapi sebab dividend dah final, so expenses is disregarded. Tapi in the case of interest, income is, mana interest tadi? Interest income is 200,000, but this one is your direct expense. Alright, you minus your direct expense dulu, baru minus common expenses. Common expenses macam mana buat? Common expense is 150,000 kat sini, nampak? Okay, common expense 150,000. So you akan ada, okay, 200 is the income, gross income over 600,000. So you have to apportion your common expenses accordingly. Right? Okay, kalau you tengok kat sini, 200, you dah ada interest expense 160,000. Right? And then your common expense 50,000. But total here dah ada 210,000, but your income is only 200,000. So you cannot minus 210. Otherwise you can dapat negative just income. Right, so you only have to minus 200,000 and the balance 10,000 is disregarded. Common capital allowance, similarly, you akan apportion whatever capital allowance given. So in this case, it's a common capital allowance is 80,000. Right, and then so you apportion accordingly lah. Right, so under listed, it's just that you have to apportion accordingly. Right, and then dapat total income of the investment holding company. Okay, so if you go through the example, it's very helpful, I think. All right, please go through all the examples in this public ruling. That will help you a lot in your final exam. Okay, so habislah topik semua dah cover. Dah boleh score A tak?
InsyaAllah.
Okay.
Allah.
Madam, kiranya total soalan will be 4 sections lah. Betul tak?
4 questions, 4 big questions.
Madam, yang tax incentive tu digabung-gabung lah soalan
Yeah.
So application kan, so tak adalah macam nak kena kira-kira.
Tak tahu. Lagi? Apa dah lah yang cover. So apa yang cover hari ni patutnya you boleh jawab soalan final dah lah. Okay. Alright. So kalau tak ada apa-apa kita boleh end dah kelas kita. Yang bawah-bawah ni I tak baca pula yang capital allowance ni tapi tak ada apa kot. Maknanya it means that if you have capital allowance besar, katalah you ada 100,000 but your income is only 50,000. So the 50,000 unutilized capital allowance tu is just burn lah. Alright, you cannot carry forward to next year. Okay, tak ada apalah. Habis dah ISC. Dulu I rasa susah sangat ISC.
It's 3 o'clock.
But of course sebab we don't normally use this, right? But I like it lah. I nak save this as my file lah sebab I contoh-conteng lah. Nanti nak bagi kat student, tak cantik. Siapa yang tak datang ni? Siapa yang tak datang ni?
Madam, tax incentive tak ada hint Pokok lah.
Tak ada. Tak ada. Kan dia ada banyak topik kan? Ada berapa tajuk semua? Ada berapa group presentation hari tu?
10.
Kalau you boleh buat summary of those 10 topics tu, you boleh share dengan kelas, bagus. But I pun nak juga jawapan, I nak juga summary tu. Nampak tak? So you pada tahulah setiap satu tu, okay katalah tajuk, kita buat tajuk apa hari tu? Hotel, tourism, right? Tourism industry. Ada buat tourism ke? Kita buat hotel je itu.
Dua-dua.
Ada dua topik je tu kan. So katalah buat hotel, okay apa isunya pasal hotel ni, macam mana, insentifnya macam mana, so buat yang lain pula. So that will help you lah sebab bukan topik banyak, so how can you have to summarize lah. You have to put this somewhere that you can tengok benda tu, okay you dapat. Okay, these are the things that we have covered in class. Betul tak? So siapa nak buat tu nanti share dengan I
InsyaAllah.
Cepat sikit sebelum periksa. So that other student can actually utilize. You dah buat nota untuk kawan-kawan you, nanti you share with your friends. Alhamdulillah, insyaAllah berkat. Share pula dengan lecturer, lagi berkat. Okay lagi? Apa lagi ya? Hutang kelas ni. I belum tengok punya report lagi. That carries 15% kan? Because you punya carrying mark is based on that 30% or midterm you tak makin lagi. Patutnya kita masuk, so by 27 ni I akan masukkan you punya presentation dulu lah. Ya, presentation marks. I rasa hari ni macam I mood baik, I rasa I letak je semua orang 15%
Thank you.
Day je.
Madam,
Ya,
nanti nak tengok jawapan midterm boleh tak? Untuk future.
Susah tak
Reference.
boleh. The problem is soalan midterm, dia text ni dia tak sama. Midterm tahun lepas, answer dia maybe tak sama dengan jawapan yang kita belajar sekarang. Sebab change of text law. Lagi satu memang I tak suka lah nak share punya jawapan kan. You boleh tunjuk punya jawapan. Alright, and then I boleh comment. But you show that in the group, alright, semua orang boleh belajar. So I comment satu-satu je lah. Tak benda lah, individual. Bila individual tu I pun dah lupa dah siapa yang tanya soalan tadi. So I won't be able to answer your question immediately. You hantar I terus I nak jawab kan. Tapi masalah bila I tak jawab tu nanti I dah lupa dah. I dah tak jumpa dah mana WhatsApp tu. Okay. Alright, if there is nothing else, I think that hari ni apa? Wednesday ya.
Ni last class lah, madam.
Habis nak cover apa lagi?
Oh, sedihnya.
Tengok gambar je, madam.
JJJ. Lagi apa tak ada apa nak cover dah kan. So this could be the last class, but your WhatsApp group is always there. Kan? So you can always ask in the WhatsApp group. Kalau ada apa-apa, you just tanya je lah. I rasa boleh ramai lah score A di SEM. Sebab you dah ada you punya group project dah buat 50% kat situ. Dengan topik dalam final exam kan. Kalau you study smart, you should be able to get in. Okay. Tapi sekarang ni duduk kat rumah tak boleh lah buat study group ya? Ke boleh buat study group?
Susah sikit je.
Ya.
Online
Boleh
juga.
lah.
Anak I okey dia buat study group dia, dia jengit cakap. Habis satu umur. Boleh insyaAllah. Okay. So, kalau tak ada apa-apa, dah sejam dah punya kelas. Right? I nak stop pause lah.